Top 5 free agents that make sense for the Cowboys. Obviously, trying to ball on a budget, which is fine. But there are some guys I think that could help them in the short term and maybe one or two of them in the long term. And these first two guys are short-term guys for sure. Number 5, tackle Charles Leno. They're going to have to get another swing tackle. They're going to have to get somebody with starting experience too, because we don't know how the draft is going to fall. They draft at 24. That means that they have no control over this thing for 23 full picks. And then for 32 more picks after that. So Charles Leno, who played for Washington, he's an okay player. He's fine. He's a good player. He's not a great player. He's not Tyron Smith. I would like to see them just bring back Tyron Smith if they're going to do this, but that does not appear likely to happen. So Charles Leno from Washington, somebody who could slide in there as a stopgap starter, depending on what happens in the draft and what that first-round draft pick is.
Didn't Sam Howell get sacked more than anybody else in college pro football?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
But this is also
I'm not sure I'd want any
within
of
their
Washington's
budget.
offensive
So
line.
yeah, and that's a good point. But I'm trying to fit into their budget and someone who started.
I get it.
Jay's kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's not something I think anybody's going to go too crazy over. But, yeah, if that's the fit, that's the fit. And I am curious about Tyron Smith and just where he ends up. I saw some fantasy scenario where he's a chief when this is all said and done, or even a commander, because they've obviously shown that the link with Dan Quinn is something that they like to take advantage of and utilize those relationships he built previously, as they've already brought in a bevy of Cowboys. So, yeah, it's not a name I think most people have focused in on, but for the Cowboys, they're not out star hunting right now. So, yeah, this could be a good fit.
Could Tyron Smith end up back in Dallas? I mean,
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're trying to wait him out right now.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to do. But I'm just making this list with the assumption it's not going to happen.
No, I thought about that because this would be a Cowboys thing to do. And for Tyron Smith, he's going to go try to get one more large contract, and we'll see if it's out there.
I would love to if Charles Leno comes into huddle with have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
Seen
this? Heard about this?
They're blitzing over here. Have you seen about this blitzing?
Right,
Have you guys heard?
I have a bunch of antique cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 4, Dalvin Cook. The best running back that's left on the free agent market. Now, maybe they could go and make a trade somewhere else. They don't have a lot of draft picks to do that with. But again, you're talking about a stopgap guy and someone who you can pair with Deuce Vaughn until you figure out what you're going to do in the draft. This is the best running back available right now in free agency. He still has a little bit of tread on the tire, so we'll see. And again, you're not talking about Dalvin Cook at a 5-year, $50 million deal. You're talking about Dalvin Cook at 1 year at about $6 million.
Yeah. He did not do much of anything last year.
No.
I know that's your boy, though. That's your guy. But, yeah, the Cowboys need a running back, and the options are slim now. I mean, Derrick Henry's off the board. Any hopes that they're going to get some big name as far as that caliber are no longer in play, but Dalvin Cook's still a big name. I just wonder, how much does he have left in the tank at this point?
I think he's got a year left in the tank.
Okay.
To help, in this role where you're also adding someone in the draft.
Yeah,
right,
but he had a stretch where he was averaging – well, he had over 1,100 yards 4 consecutive years, and it's 1,500. He doesn't have that, but you don't really need that. What are you looking for, somebody for 500, 600 yards?
Yeah, I'm if he gets 750 yards and a couple touchdowns, I think they're doing okay because I would assume the rookie is involved there and Deuce Vaughn is level.
The running backs, it just disappeared.
If he did that, though, that's 5 times what he did, or 4 times what he did last year.
Last year he had 214, no touchdowns.
Bring Zeke back.
I definitely don't want them to do that like that. But
isn't that you hear about the running back's treads, and it's just remarkable. 9 times out of 10, there are rarely many Walter Paytons and Emmitt Smiths and others that get to play for a long Adrian Peterson.
Look,
but when it's gone, it's gone.
By the way, here's one, and we just had the guy who could tell us about it on, but Danielle Hunter and the Texans, 2-year deal. So
good for them.
That's they had the money to do it, and there you go. So yeah, I looked at the 150, Randy Miller's top 150 free agents, and Dalvin Cook was the best running back available. One of those guys was also Zeke Elliott. So that's the options that they have right now. Or they're going to ride with a rookie or maybe bring back Rico Dowdle. I also don't think they're going to do that. So
yeah, I mean, they can just go get a guy in the draft. I mean, there's going to be plenty of running backs available at various times.
I guess Alexander Madison would be the best one available. But I don't see them spending Alexander Madison type money. And that's saying a lot that what they're doing. So, and he's not even, all that great. But yeah, so.
This is a selfish Paul Pig. He wants to buy that Dalvin Cook Cowboys jersey.
I mean,
get that in the collection.
I mean,
Garrett, I thought we weren't allowed to wear jerseys.
Definitely.
I think Paul would make an exception with that one.
Part of the deal
I might
is
frame it.
Part of the deal is Jerry will chip in on the legal fees to get Florida State out of the ACC. Just bring it all up front.
Absolutely. Number 3, Curtis Samuel. This is a player I really like.
I like him.
I really like. He's very versatile. This provides them with an instant upgrade at wide receiver over Michael Gallup, who's going to get released. Somebody who can do a lot of things, who can line up a lot of spots. You can do a ton with them. Heck, you can line them up at running back because you might even need to. So I think this is a player that the Cowboys really need to kick the look. If Washington's going to take all their defensive guys, go get one of the more intriguing players. He dealt with some injury history over a couple years, but really last year I thought he contributed well in an offense that was trying to find itself. And you give this guy to Dak Prescott, I think it's going to work out well. If you have CeeDee Lamb, Curtis Samuel, Brandon Cooks, that's Jake Ferguson, that's weapons for Dak.
Yeah.
And this is affordable. This is an affordable player that you can go get that can do a lot of things for you. But again, now that I've said it and put it out in the universe that I would like to go get a versatile, super athletic guy like Curtis Samuel, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, he's a good player. I mean, that would be a good pickup for them. He was mighty fine in Washington. Not a star, but you don't need a star when you've got CeeDee Lamb at the top of the food chain there. But yeah, definitely a burner and a guy who could do a lot of damage in Dallas with the weapons around him. I saw something earlier today where it was talking about the colleges and how they were affected by free agents or just the college tie-ins. And Ohio State had 17 NFL free agents, which is more than most have had total in the NFL in 5 years. The last 5 years, they had 17 free agents that were all Buckeyes, including him. I just found that fascinating. I don't know where they are in the totals now. I'd imagine Bama's still 1, Georgia's 2, but Ohio State I'd have to think is 3 at worst, you would think, as far as NFL guys.
They have Scary Terry in Washington. They have Jahan Dotson, who they really like.
Yeah, they don't have to have him.
And they're about to draft a quarterback. And I would also assume that they're going to draft a wide receiver in this draft who matches up maybe a little bit more Cliff Kingsbury type-ish.
Yeah,
And look, also, if they lose him, Marquise Brown's out there who went to go play for Cliff Kingsbury. That's one I would not be surprised to see Washington to go after as well to get Hollywood Brown. Number 2. DJ Reader, a big space eater at defensive tackle, can be had for a relatively good price, has, again, dealt with some injuries. But right now, we are shopping at the bargain bin for the Cowboys. We are looking for good deals of guys who can help stop-gap them. Jonathan Hankins is a free agent. This is an upgrade over him. This can help Mozzie Smith out. Neville Gallimore's a free agent. That guy was moving on anyway. They need some depth at the position. They probably addressed it again in the draft, but this is someone who brings something to the table they haven't really had and has played really well over the years. This is a fit for the Cowboys. Again, it all depends on how long and how much money, but I think this is one. And I'm not one of these people I've said needs a 5-year deal. All of them can be 1, 2, or a 3-year deal with an option year at the end. That's all I'm saying. And DJ Reader would be a good fit. He's a good player.
Yeah, he is a good player and played his college ball at Clemson, which I bring that in because going back to what I was just saying, Ohio State actually the number 2 at last check amount of pros. 61. Now, I don't know when this list was updated in this past year, so I don't know if it's updated today or, whatever, but they had 61 players in the pros last year. That's freaking ridiculous. Alabama had 72. But Clemson's right there, number 5, 43 pros, including DJ Reader. And so, they definitely need offensive line help. And
defensive line.
Defensive line help. And so, that would be a nice, solid pickup.
And number 1. Devin White, linebacker, a very good linebacker, coached by one Dave Aranda in college, by the way. But Devin White to the Cowboys would be a very good thing for them. Demarion Overshown, Damone Clark, all benefit from having a guy like Devin White there. An LSU Tiger, Garrett loves Devin White. I'm sure he would hate it if he was a Cowboy, but as far as I know, number 45 is available, or any number he wants is available. He can go have that with the Cowboys. This is the dude that right now, and it might wind up being Bobby Wagner. I don't know, because he's out there too, and might cost less, but I do think that getting a guy that plays like Devin White on a 1 or 2 year deal for a team that has no real answers at starting linebacker right now, with Overshown coming off the ACL, Vander Esch likely going to retire. Damone Clark played a lot last year and just did not look like he was ready to take on the run. It's good in coverage, but not really a run stopper at running back. They have got to have some answers at that position. They'll also address it in the draft. But again, right now, you don't know what you're going to get in the draft. So you have to prepare as if you're not going to get a linebacker. You're not going to get a running back. You're not going to get a wide receiver. You have to have starters on the roster. They don't have those right now. But Devin White would be my number one.
If you could have had Levante David, I know Levante David was going back to Tampa. Which of those two would you want?
I would take Devin White just because he's a little bit younger, but that's a little bit of Sophie's choice.
Okay.
All right. I mean, they're both really good. Levante David, maybe just because he's such a great, same with Bobby Wagner, I wouldn't turn around having a leader, a dude like that who can command the locker room like they can.
Yep, they need that too. It's amazing. You hear about it. I was still amazed at the end of last year, one, that they were yet again dismissed quickly, but how many players started barking? It's almost as if, I know they're popular and they have their YouTube and podcast, and my God, they should do that. But I'm just, it never ends with them. How many are barking and